I'm crying. I'm, I mean, I've seen quite a few churches and cathedrals and these kind of things in my life. This is just...
Hi everyone, I'm Rick.
And I'm Anna.
And today we're visiting Old Montreal. Old Montreal is a historic neighborhood in the city of Montreal. The once fortified neighborhood has evolved and changed in many ways over the years, but thanks to preservation efforts, it maintains a lot of the elements from the 18th and 19th centuries. It's now one of the leading tourist destinations in the city, and also the set of our adventure today. Stop, Notre-Dame Basilica, a church in Old Montreal that was completed in 1829, replacing the Notre-Dame church that was built on the site in the 17th century. The beauty and scale of the church helped it become a favorite for wedding ceremonies. For example, Celine Dion and René Angeline had their wedding there in 1994. Unless you're attending Mass, an $8 fee is required to visit the church. But believe us, it's worth it.
I've seen quite a few churches and cathedrals and these kind of things in my life. This is just...
So Anna, when we got in here, you were pretty emotional.
Yes, I was.
What happened?
It really brought me to tears. It's like, this place is just so beautiful. Like the light, the colors. As soon as you walk in, you just see the altar in front. It's just so rich and so bright. And I don't know, I guess I'm a very emotional person too. But I think I could safely say that this is the most beautiful church I have seen.
Oh, really? And you've seen a lot.
I've seen a lot of
We've been to Vatican.
We've been to Vatican, I know. Vatican is impressive, don't get me wrong. And you know, all the art and the history behind it. But this is just like, it strikes you like as soon as you walk in.
So you mean in terms of like scale, Vatican, might have like bigger churches,
right, of course.
Or London has like St. Paul, it's bigger, but here you were more emotionally touched when you got inside
exactly.
here.
Exactly.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like it really got straight to my heart as soon as I saw it.
You were talking about the colors and the ceiling, but also like the sculptures, the painting, and the stained glass are so well made, so beautiful. I've been walking around looking at some of those stained glasses. I'm always surprised and impressed when I see those.
That's true, all of the art that was put into building this is just astonishing.
So yeah, Notre-Dame Basilica is really a must-see for anyone who comes to the Old Montreal. I'm really glad we came here. This is really you feel that it's a part of the history of not only Old Montreal but the city in general, which Catholic Church is a big part of the history of Montreal. But there is more to the history of the city than this church, and there is more to Old Montreal than Notre-Dame. So let's go find what else is waiting for us outside.
Tommy is a really nice cafe inside the British Empire building, which was built in 1874 to serve as the headquarters of a financial institution. And like several of the buildings we'll see in Old Montreal today, the British Empire building served different roles through the years and has now been repurposed to fit modern needs while keeping most of its original look. With its Victorian architecture and mix of 50s style furniture and modern design, Tommy is definitely a unique cafe, and it's no surprise that it's also very popular.
So after our first stop, which was Montreal's Notre-Dame, we stopped by the British Empire's building to a little coffee called Tommy, and just boost ourselves a little bit before the rest of our day, which is going to be a long day of walking around this old town.
Yeah, we have a really busy day ahead of us, and so I'm having my lunch tea.
It started out great with Notre-Dame, but we have a lot of other things to see that I think you'll really enjoy. Well, you've been in the old town a lot, but
Yes, I have, and actually even this building, we've passed by it so many times. We've never been inside, but I do assume it's really popular because I've always seen people waiting in line outside. When we got here, we had to wait in line.
and then as soon as you get in, you understand, why, because it's such a beautiful place, and not only the building itself, which, like I said, is the British Empire's building, built in 19th century, but even the inside looks gorgeous.
It does. The whole building has this old style kind of epoch architecture to it. The nice flowery decorations and everything. The furniture too,
Right, look at this. I got a no couch just for myself, I can lay down and drink my coffee. But yeah, also very affordable too, so it's perfect for us. We just wanted to get a little break before the rest of our day. We started big with the Notre-Dame, but
still have great things ahead of us.
we have more adventures ahead of us, and I think you'll like it.
Compagnie, haut les armes! Compagnie, appelez vos armes! Compagnie, on joue! Compagnie,
Our next stop was Chateau Ramezay. Built in 1705 as the residence of Governor Claude de Ramezay, the chateau was the first building proclaimed a historical monument in Quebec and is now a private history museum. So we're continuing our tour of historical Old Montreal with a visit to Chateau Ramezay, which was the personal house of the governor of Montreal. It's a huge space. Imagine this was your house.
Yeah, and the garden too.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought going inside that it would be an exhibit of the house itself and the object inside of it and what they were doing with each rooms. But no, it's a history of Montreal in general.
Right, it's a Montreal museum.
Yeah. I'd really like to see someone driving that. How does it even work? Now going downstairs, see what they have. That's where you would store his
booze.
yeah. You see, whether you're from the 18th century or the 21st century, you care about the same things, you know? Putting all your alcohol in a safe place in your basement, inside barrels, just like we do back home. Dark tunnel, where you can only see because of those flimsy candles. You're scared? Don't be scared. You're venturing through history. Oh, look! And they have all these fancy cutleries. And you know, just like today, they have like headphones when the kids wanted to listen to music while they eat. And I come over here. Look at me. I'm Mr. Ramezay. This is my castle.
Striking resemblance.
Right? Right?
Yeah, I would say yes.
Adventurer type. So there's some, like, if all of these are for women, then you should be wearing some of them. Oh my god, look at you. You're real, like, 18th century women with a man hat.
I'm a strong, independent woman of the 18th century.
Right, it's like I just went through a time machine.
Pirate.
You are a pirate.
Right?
You're Keira Knightley. Oh my god. Wow. It's like I just like had a vision of what it was like to live in Old Montreal when Mr. Ramezay was living here. Wait, are you Mrs. Ramezay? Do you know Gordon?
Am I?
We then went to Bonsecours Market, thinking it was a farmer's market, but got there to find out it has not served this purpose since 1963. The 1847 building that at one time housed the Montreal City Hall is now a multi-purpose facility with rooms for events, restaurants and boutiques.
So we just walked into Marché Bonsecours, which means the Bonsecours Market. And even though the name might make you think that you're walking into like a traditional, classic grocery market, it is not. It is a shopping center, mainly for tourists. Like I'm seeing a lot of tourist shops around here, which is interesting. I didn't expect to find that here because like I really thought that it was going to be just a food market. It's very different than what I thought, but interesting nonetheless.
They seem to have a lot of shops selling like Canadian products or Canadian related products and every manner imaginable. Look at this underwear with a moose on.
Because of course if you have been to Canada, you want a moose.
I mean, the moose are practically walking in the street, you know. I almost hit one on the way here. Smart ass.
Oh, that's so funny.
Oh, this one, oh, they're clever, you know, buck naked. You know, I was hanging out here with my friend, the giraffe, and I realized that this place, you know, really represents what Old Montreal has become, because it's a mash of the old and the new, like the building itself is old and it used to serve another purpose, but now they transformed it into this like modern tourist shopping center. And really, when you walk around Old Montreal, that's a lot of what you'll see. The facade is what it used to be, but inside it's totally new. The building may seem old, but the inside is a McDonald's. That's interesting. So now we're about to take a little stroll down history, which we're already doing, kind of, but now we'll just walk down the street and like try to experience some of Old Montreal's history through not only the streets but the buildings. A perfect example of what I'm saying is that, like, if you see the building behind us, this used to be an old fire station, which has now been converted into a museum of Montreal history. And Old Montreal is full of buildings like this, where the facade or the building itself used to be something entirely different, but they changed it, they transformed it.
Right, it has been repurposed.
Exactly.
I have to say, like, this is one of my favorite ways to do travel in general, is this historical aspect of it.
Yeah.
Especially like when you go to an old town, sometimes within a city, or just like, a preserved old area by itself. So just like walk around there and you see these, like, the old buildings, some old walls, something like this, and you can try to imagine what was it like back then, what would they use it for. Sometimes it's not like a whole building. Of course, in the old town here, we've seen a lot of like whole buildings that look really old, but sometimes you only get pieces of it, some walls, some, a gate somewhere. And you try to put it together like a puzzle piece, and it's so exciting and it's so interesting, and it's amazing to me, really.
Yeah, and most of these buildings have been built like 200, maybe 300 years ago, at max 400, but there's very few of those that were built 400 years ago that still stands today. And when you contrast that to, like, we've been, both of us, to Japan, and there were temples there that was like, this temple has been there for like
1,000 years, Right. And then in Romania too, that I've visited a few other European countries, but I can say the most about Romania. Like, there are buildings, churches, castles that have been there for like almost 1,000 years, or sometimes even more, actually.
Exactly. And then you walk around here and, like, one of the oldest things you'll see, it says like, built in 18 something.
Right.
And you wonder, like, is it really that old? But I think that when you contrast that with the city that is like right next to it, the rest of the city, the rest of Montreal, downtown Montreal, with its big skyscrapers and shops everywhere, and there are shops here too, but more modern looking shops, with their facade.
But I think
you really feel like you've stepped down a time machine, even though it's a time machine that doesn't bring you 1,000 years ago. It brings you 200 years ago. It's still very interesting.
I see what you mean. I agree with that, and I do like that, the fact that you can see an old looking building, like you were just describing, but then you walk inside and it's actually something like new and modern, or like maybe right next to it there's something new and modern, like modern architecture.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of thing. And you see that a lot around here. You see that a lot in the Old Montreal.
Yeah. And so that's basically what we're going to do. We're going to walk around, try to find other interesting places. We'll mainly go through St. Paul and adjacent streets. But wherever you go in Old Montreal, if you walk down more uncharted paths, which not a lot of the paths here are uncharted. There are tourists everywhere.
Yeah, I suppose.
But if you try to walk like to whatever street, you'll find a building or a part of a street that looks interesting, that is part of Montreal's history. And I think that's the main reason to come here, really.
St. Paul is Montreal's oldest street and my favorite one in the city. It houses a number of art galleries, restaurants and souvenir shops, and it is the place to go to if you feel like taking a walk in Old Montreal.
So now I thought our next stop should be something a little more interesting, a little more lively than all those restaurants and art galleries that you love, but
I do.
are kind of like quiet, you know. Let's go to Jacques-Cartier Square,
Okay.
where the party is. Oh, what's really nice though, it's with a lot of these restaurants, they have like rooftop terrace. And if you get a chance, I say like definitely go to one of those. They're
Yeah,
beautiful. Or even like regular terrace on the.
From a rooftop terrace, I feel like you would get a really nice view, you know, with the old town and the old buildings and all of that.
Yeah.
I think that would be interesting.
But yeah, that's not for us right now. We're going to the party at Jacques-Cartier Square. Place Jacques-Cartier is a square that in many ways serves as the center of the old town. In the summer, it's a car-free zone, which makes it perfect if you want to walk around and look at the different stands, restaurants, and street artists. So now we're in Place Jacques-Cartier, which if you come to Old Montreal, this is where the party is. This is where everybody is gathered. You can hear music in the background. There are street performers, drawing, a lot of history to be found here too, but also lots of restaurants and things to buy. So something for me, something for Anna. Let's go.
These are so nice. They look so nice.
There was no better way for us to end our adventure in Old Montreal than by eating on the terrace of one of the neighborhood's prettiest restaurants, Jardin Nelson.
So we're finishing our day here at Jardin Nelson, which is a restaurant in Old Montreal that really represents what Old Montreal is about. The building itself of the restaurant used to be an inn that was repurposed as a restaurant. And then the back part used to be another building which doesn't exist anymore. But the front piece of it is still there, the facade. And the back part has been repurposed again as a terrace, which we're in right now.
And let me tell you, yeah, it looks so beautiful. It's astonishing, really. There are actually 4 different sections of the terrace. There are nice plants decorating everything, the lights. And every night, actually, it says at the entrance, 7 days a week, you have live music, a live band playing. It's really beautiful, and it's really the perfect way to finish a day like this. We started off many hours ago with the Notre-Dame Basilica, and then we walked around the whole of the old town of Montreal, walked down St. Paul Street, you know, tried to walk into the footsteps of the history of this city, visited so many different things, and we can't say that we're tired and hungry right now.
For a little bit, you yourself were part of that history. You were an 18th century lady with a hat then.
Oh yeah, that was me. That was me doing that, yeah.
But yeah, it was a wonderful day, a wonderful time in Old Montreal. If you guys come here, there are many more things to do other than the things we saw and the things we did. You know, we went to Marché Bonsecours, like you said, we went through the old town, the streets of the old town, and to one museum, but there are several other museums.
Right, we saw them from the outside, but we never actually walked inside.
Exactly, and also if you're in the Old Montreal, it's just 2 streets away, you walk towards the river and you're in the old port, which is an whole nother section where you can do a lot of things. We did a whole video about that. If you guys want to see that, check our channel. But yeah, that was a wonderful day, wonderful adventure. Thanks you guys for coming with us on this adventure, and have a nice day. Thank you for watching our video. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. If you want to see more from us, look at these other videos on the side. Have a nice day.
Okay.
Where the party is.
What?
Where the party is.
What party though?